Okay, so this is a phrase I was asked about recently, 32nd note phrase involving a roll down and back up the toms. These days I try and stop relying on, especially at the end of phrases, doing a run down the toms, but I don't mind things when they involve a run that goes down and then back up, whether it's a pattern with two hands or even just with one hand. Those kind of Tony Williams phrases, or if it's something that has that symmetrical sound to it. So this one is 32nd notes and sounds like this. So let's talk about what it is. So it's two notes on each drum, and then on the last drum, so we're doing it between these three toms, you play an extra note. And that right hand is the beginning of a paradiddle-diddle. But then we're going to go back up the drums as well. And when we go back up, we're doing right, left, right on this floor tom to allow us to lead with the left hand going back up. And at the end, we're just filling in with singles. And to make the singles sound like that, we're just going. So it's hard when you do it slow, because if the hi-hat's playing quarter notes like that, it might be easier to play eighth notes. Because when you're slower and it's playing quarter notes, sometimes you can mix up how the phrase is supposed to sound, because it goes over the bar line because of the nature of the the amount of notes going down and then back up. That's another good thing to do, is to do it over and over. Apart from this being a fill that you can use sparingly, of course, because it's pretty bombastic, but this is also, as some of these licks are, just great exercises for your hands, for your control over the drums. And a lot of drummers want to, at the end of a fill or at some point, go for that high energy thing that involves a run around the toms, but they just haven't practiced enough repetition of going up and down the toms for it to come out reliably and cleanly. Because you'll hit rims, the speed will throw your brain off as to where you are on per drum, how many notes per drum. So although this stuff is pulled out very occasionally in a musical setting, when you do want to use that one thing that can have a really great effect, even though it's some people say it's not worth practicing because how much do I use it? But these things can be very powerful even if you just use them once. So you've got to practice this stuff. So this is a great exercise for your hands, not only because of the rolls up and down the toms, but you've also got that paradiddle-diddle with some doubles on the snare drum. And so linking that with the roll is tough on your hands. So we'll get to a triplet variation in a second. So putting the whole fill together. That's another thing you can do is play the whole fill over and over like that with the singles at the end on the snare. So that's one variation. The next thing you can do instead of playing the singles on the snare drum is to continue and do another roll around the drums. If you have 4 toms, you can start that final roll on the 10-inch tom. If you don't, and you just have 1 floor tom, you can start it on the snare drum. Both of those sound good. Then you can play this whole thing in triplets. And then, of course, it fits perfectly, so you can just repeat that over and over. Pretty tough at those kind of tempos, but that's something that can work. And then it also sounds okay slower too. You don't have to play everything blisteringly fast. At that kind of tempo, maybe you just play it once down, once up, and it's just one of those phrases that you know that you can do it, and then it just serves as a nice question and answer phrase. So it's just amongst your other triplet vocab. It's just another option for that kind of sound. You don't want it often, but when you do want that roll, it's just nicer to be able to play it back up the toms as the answer to the phrase. Just makes it a little bit more musical. And then you can use it as a technique exercise. So the paradiddle-diddle stickings link everything together nicely, makes it really flow. So you can use it as a technique endurance exercise where you're really trying to push yourself, maintaining good dynamics so the snare drum notes are not too loud and it still sounds musical, but really pushing yourself and trying to get a powerful sound so that the faster you go, the tom notes still stand out nice and clean. You can hear all of the notes. And it's hard on your hands to switch because you're switching between the singles, the bursts of singles down the toms, and then you've got to go to that paradiddle-diddle, which contains the doubles. And so you're using different muscles in your hands, and it's a great switch, a quick switch between those two. And then, like I did there, you can start to flick between only doing the descending and only doing the ascending, and getting used to starting phrases up here or here.